10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, comic friends? It's Ryan the Colossus Collector, and thank you for stopping by my channel once again. Tonight is Colossus' Spotlight on Colossus. First time ever on my channel I'm doing a show completely in tribute to my favorite character, so I'm pretty excited about it. I have a few guests with me tonight that are big Colossus fans. I've never had them on my channel before, so I'm really excited to talk to them tonight. First up, we've got Bo Neuzil from @BoNeuzil on Instagram. What's going on, Bo? Thanks for coming on.
Good. How you doing, Ryan? I appreciate you having me on here.
No problem. My pleasure. Next up, we've got a longtime member of our community. I've known him pretty much since I got started on YouTube, or even maybe before that. It's Hialeah Comic Bro. What's going on, man?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me, man. Wait, before we start, this is your first show strictly Colossus? That's hard to believe.
Just strictly Colossus. Like I obviously I've had plenty of X-Men related things, talked about Colossus a lot, but never had just a show completely dedicated to my favorite character. So
oh shit. Now I'm nervous. Now I'm nervous.
Oh
bro. Now,
it's gonna be a good time. Gonna be fun.
Now the stakes are high. Now the stakes are high. We gotta represent.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, and then last but not least, my friend Dan Kelley Art from the
what's up?
Comics Station. What's going on, Dan?
Been excited to do this. I made it in the wire. Like I clicked the group chat and went on here right when the intro was going. I was like, oh man, I just made it.
Oh, you popped in perfect timing.
Yeah, just got home from my daughter's swim lesson, so glad I wasn't late.
No, you're right on time, man. So guys, like I said, thanks for coming on tonight. Had this idea, and I was thinking, okay, who am I gonna have on to talk about Colossus? I've known Bo on Instagram for a number of years. I know he's one of the biggest Colossus fans I'm connected with, so I had to have Bo on. Hialeah, we've been on a few streams together, like Biggie Shack, and you've mentioned to me a few times how Colossus is your guy, and I wanted to have you on. And Dan, although Colossus isn't your favorite character, he's your favorite X-Men character. We've talked about it a few times as well, how much you're into Colossus. So you guys are the perfect cast for this show. And I wanted to just kind of kick things off by just having each of you sort of, for anybody who's not who isn't connected with you, hasn't seen you on a stream or anything like that, maybe just tell everybody like kind of what do you collect, like who are you as a collector, and then how you became such a fan of Colossus. And we'll start off with Bo.
Well, first of all, I became a Colossus fan walking through the grocery store as a little kid. Back when they used to have comic books on the magazine racks, I was walking by, just a little kid, seeing this Art Adams X Babies cover. They had, all the X Babies in the background, and I seen this all look on Colossus in the background, and I was like, he's adorable. So as a kid, I thought this was perfect. It reminded me of like a superhero of me that age, So I had my mom buy me that issue, took it home, and I still have it to this day. And I bought it probably like another 3 or 4 times since. But ever since then, like Art Adams is pretty much what started off for me as a Colossus baby. And then when I found out that he wasn't just a baby all the time, after I bought more issues, and so for a kid, I guess, and that just kind of what started it off for me. But I'm mostly just an art collector. If the artist I like does the interiors, I will read the book, but I have to be intrigued by the art. Like if Jim Lee does it, or Scott Williams or Art Adams or, just I got a numerous amount of artists that I collect, but I'm just an art guy, specifically covers, I get a lot of commissioned art done. A lot of like sketch covers done. That's the first person I always have anybody draw for me is Colossus. And if they've done Colossus for me already, or if they're known for drawing females, I have them do a Rasputin, which is, the closest thing to a female Colossus that there is. And then if they don't if I've had that done, I'll have them do Magic. And now, of course, there's Colossus' son, this in the new Wolverine Revenge. So that's kind of just like, I'm hoping that pops off so I can start having people draw him for me and start a whole new run.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny because I've never heard you tell the story about the origin of the X babies, but I've seen a lot of stuff that you have like X babies, kind of like that kind of art style. So now that totally makes sense that was your entry point. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anytime I see somebody that can do like a cute Colossus, I'm totally down for it. I like the whole Disney style. I like anybody that can do them in like in a cute form. But then of course I like the all forms of them. I even like the bearded form that's coming back around right now. You see a lot of bearded Colossus on your covers, and I'm digging that even. It's just. And then once they debuted his son as Peter in the new, Wolverine Revenge issue, like number 5, I was in awe. I was like, this is great. He's got the soul sword. His aunt taught him how to use it. It's like, it can't get any better.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. They never, although I don't know if I've seen oh no, I did read the last issue. They never really kind of mention who the mom is. So no. I'm curious to see if they ever kind of unveil that. But I guess that's sort of a bit of an elsewhere, like non-616 story as well. So I don't know. We'll see if we see him in the future.
I was praying they didn't kill him. That was all I wanted. I was waiting for the issue 5 to come out. I was like, please don't kill him off. Don't have him. When I saw he survived at the end of it, I was just in heaven. I was like, perfect. He's going to go on to some other team, or he'll have his own book or something, someday.
A little bit of justice for Colossus in the end there.
Exactly.
Hialeah, what about you?
Well, right now I'm in a collecting lull. I'm like I collect a lot of keys, and I'm at a point where it's like, man, I got pretty much everything I want. There's still things here and there, so I'm not collecting too much. But I do love me some Colossus, and it started probably in the late 70s. Kind of like what Bo said. I got a X-Men 149 at a bodega right by my house. And in that one, it's Colossus is front and center, with the other X-Men. And I just fell in love, man. I read the issue multiple times, and I just started collecting X-Men and dove into it. And man, I love Colossus. I love the X-Men. I had what is it? I had from like 94 all the way to 300. That was like my run. Not that I collect runs anymore, but read them, loved them, and I've been a fan, man. And I've gotten some things I don't get a lot of art, but I have some pieces that people in the community have done for me and sent to me. And I'll share those later on. And right behind Dan, that to me is the Colossus issue.
Yeah.
Cover. I don't think the right Colossus cover has been done. He doesn't get all the love like Wolverine has like a million badass covers. The Colossus cover is that one.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree.
So
and we'll talk about that a little bit more because I got that one.
I got mine's too. I got mine's locked and loaded too.
Yep.
Love it. Dan, what about you? What made Colossus kind of become your favorite X-Men? And where did that sort of start from?
Well, I'm so unlike these guys and other collectors where they know the specific issue they started with. Like, you've been on our channel, so you've talked to Gary. He talks about like the Genesis book. He remembers his first book and all these guys. I have no idea. I've been getting comics since I was like in elementary school, and I would just get old back issues when I would go to my parents would drag me along to like antique stores and thrift malls, and they're looking at boring adult stuff, and I'm picking out covers, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And you know, when I got into X-Men, that was an early one for me. And I think, like, you know, like a lot of characters, like the first thing that makes you gravitate towards them is the visual on how they look. And Colossus, you see him, you're just like, that guy just looks so badass. This big dude turns into metal. You know, you get awesome, like the John Byrne, you know, did, you know, such a great job with him. And then as you start to get into knowing the character, some of them you're like, all right, that's a really cool visual, but you know, that's kind of it. But Colossus had such a great characterization too. You know, he was this kind of gentle giant. He wasn't a fighter. He was a farmer, and he just wanted a simple life, you know, as a farmer and an artist and, you know, and a poet. And I'm like, well, I draw and I write, you know, and, you know, so I kind of gravitated toward that. But then, you know, power wise, it's the opposite of what he is personality wise, where he's the big, strong man. And, you know, and I always found that interesting. And, you know, he, you know, is very much using his power to protect those that are closest to him. And, you know, Marvel has put him through the ringer a lot over the years. And, you know, I think, I know I've told you before, Ryan, that reading X-Men, when he sacrificed himself to cure the legacy virus, on one hand, like, that's such a cool moment for the character, and that's totally in character for what he would do, and especially losing Ileana. But at the same time, I was like, F you, Marvel. And I stopped reading X-Men after that. I was so mad they killed my favorite X-Men character. I think I picked up the next issue just to see, like, all right, is this real? And when it was, I was like, F you, Marvel. And I just stopped reading. I picked the only X-Men issues I picked up after that was when Mark Silvestri came on and did that like 3 or 4 issue story in the future. I was like, all right, it's Silvestri. And then I didn't start reading again until Astonishing X-Men. Had no idea they were bringing Colossus back. I was just like, all right, this looks pretty cool. And then when they brought him back, that last panel when he was on there, I was like, oh, yes. And then like the next issue when he just gets like badass moment after badass moment after badass moment, I was like, oh, my boy is back. And it just, even now I get like shivers talking about it. I was like, oh, that was so great. So yeah. And then Marvel has just kept putting him through the ringer after that. But yeah,
that's definitely, I have a question planned to ask you guys where we'll probably dive into that. But yeah, like I'm very similar. So I've always gravitated to kind of like the tanks, the big guys. I'm 6'4". I was always like the tallest kid in my class, so I just kind of always gravitated to the big guys. But where my love of Colossus started, and I've told this story many times on the channel, but I'll say it again, is that video game right behind me right there.
He was the best one on there. He just stand in the middle and
yeah, the Konami arcade game from the late 80s, early 90s was just so, as a game itself, was so unique. It was like the double screen, massive cabinet, 6 players, cooperative game. Like, what an awesome game to play with your friends. But then Colossus was just this standout character, his superpower, which only really exists in the game. It's not something that's in the comic. Was so cool. And just like, but yeah, to what you were saying, Dan, like, he's badass. He's just built out of metal and just this really kick-ass character. That was kind of like the surface level where my love for him came from. But like, as I've learned about him over the years, like, I find more and more like kinship with the character, like, or like similarities to me as a person, because like, he is kind of that gentle giant, that kind person. Don't mess with them. Don't, like, he can go berserk, he could get mad, but he's ultimately like a kind-hearted, kind of soulful person. And I feel like that kind of embodies how I kind of live my life too. But then also his relationship as an older brother, and I have 2 younger sisters, and that always really appealed to me, just like the protective nature and having a younger sister. That just resonated with me. So like, those are the things that always have really like bonded me to the character and made him my favorite. Just before we keep going, I just want to say what's up to everybody watching and in the chat. Derek was the first one on with this emoji like days in advance. Thanks, Derek. JSS Brooklyn's with us. Leroy, Bo's like childhood friend who I met at Terrificon. Such a small world when it comes to the comic community, but Leroy's a great guy. I'm hoping I run into him again in Terrificon this year. But yeah, cool that you guys are longtime good friends from back home.
Yep.
Sal from Sal's Comic Corner and the Codex channel. Thank you, or station. Thanks for stopping in tonight, Sal. Christopher Parker, always here. What's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Got Circumstances. He found Hialeah. What's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Love it. So you brought up Dan that he's been put through the ringer. I wanted to just ask if you guys feel the same way I do, and I think Dan already has alluded to it. Do you think he's like highly disrespected as a character?
For sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they killed his parents, they killed his sister, they brought his sister back, they killed him, they brought him back, he was going to marry Kitty, then he gets left at the altar by her, they're like, have him leaving the X-Men to be an acolyte, then he's coming back, which I actually kind of understood that because at the time, what he was going through with losing Hialeah, everything going on, like he's kind of searching for answers. So I wasn't mad at that. But, recently, like they've kind of, had him be somewhat villainous. They've had him, like on all these X-Men teams, and he's just kind of not even there for, in the last few years. You were talking about the Wolverine series. I read the first issue, and I'm like, oh, they made him a bad guy. I didn't pick the rest of it up. The Ultimate Universe they have going on now. I'm like, all right, he's a bad guy in that. Even as great as X-Men the animated series was, I'm like, you've got mostly the all new, all different team. Where's him? And then on the new season, they finally add Nightcrawler, and I always love the dynamic of him and Nightcrawler and Wolverine. I'm like, where's my boy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a morph cameo. That was about it from X-Men 97.
Yeah.
I found this drawing I did when I was a kid where I like drew Colossus and Wolverine, and I like redid costumes because I mean that's what kids do. And Wolverine, I'm like, all right, I made his costume white and red because like, oh, he's Canadian, whatever. And I look at the Colossus one, I'm like, why did I make his costume like purple and red? But the only cool thing about it was the way I drew it. I had like half of his face kind of rusted, and I was like, oh, that would be kind of an interesting thing if they ever did that with him. Maybe like part of his face is rusted. Then when he turns human, he's got scars or something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I think he's just like horribly underused, and then like I don't mind the heel turns if it's part of a good story. The acolyte thing, like that doesn't bother me. The most recent thing, and I didn't really read it. It's more I've heard about it, but in the Krakoa era, the whole like mind control thing, like it's not even like he goes bad, but he's not even like in control. He's just like a puppet for however long they ran that story, and but then like he's not in the animated series, and
after Kitty left him, they made him this like pathetic drunk.
Yeah, and he's currently not even in any of like main parts of the current stories going on of the main like continuity. So like, yeah, and now I'm not very hopeful that he's going to be in the MCU coming forward, at least not initially.
Oh, in X-Men 2, that was such a great moment when when the school's getting attacked and he comes through the wall and he armors up and he just like takes the one guy out. And then as Wolverine's, as they're getting the kids out, he looks at Wolverine. He's like, I can help you. I'm like, do it. Help him. And then he goes, no, you watch the kids. I'm like, no, screw them kids. They got powers. They can handle themselves. Go help him.
Yeah, that was clearly a VFX budget decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, just like that was such a cool moment. They should have kept them in the movie more. Yeah, I just the one thing though where he at least got to shine a bit on screen was in the first Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Well,
I
especially
mean,
the second one, that fight with Juggernaut was pretty
oh
good.
yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah. I agree. Like when I'm watching the X-Men 97, I'm like, where's Colossus at? How can you have an X-Men without Colossus, especially in the 90s? I mean, he was huge. And I don't know who I heard it from. I think it might have been Rob Liefeld or one of the guys that had a podcast. They said that originally back in the days, the Colossus was supposed to be the leader of the X-Men. And then somehow they changed it to, Cyclops, or whatever. But that's the reason why Colossus was on so many covers, up until a certain point, But even if you look at all the Art Adams covers, every one of them has Colossus on it. It's just like one of those things that he's been disrespected so much, and like you said, like killed off, and but I think that I've noticed recently he's been on a lot more covers recently, and I think it has a lot to do with his sister being so huge right now. Like Magic is huge, So
Yeah,
I think that's what's kind of giving him a little bit of limelight back, and I'm hoping that he'll continue to be on more covers somehow. And
well, he's supposed. I read something that him and Nightcrawler and Thunderbird are supposed to be getting series sometime this year because it's the anniversary of Giant Size 1. That I imagine it would be mini series or one shots. I keep on Comic Hub every week. I keep going on there and type it in Colossus, Nightcrawler, Thunderbird. Like let me see some news, man. I'm here for it. I'm ready.
That'd be amazing. And it bothered me too when he wasn't able to turn back to human for a while. Like I always liked that about him. That like same as you, Dan. That I like that he was an artist because I've always been an artist myself, and that always attracted me to him. And the fact that he was really compassionate, and gave himself up for the other team members. But when he stopped being able to turn back to human, I was like, oh man, why would they do that to him? But then I noticed in that new Wolverine Revenge one, they had him and his son turning back to human, in that series, and I thought that was great. I don't know what place in the universe that takes place in, but it was a great story, and I'm just looking forward to that being continued somehow.
And when he's armored up, he doesn't, they've established he doesn't breathe, he doesn't need to eat or anything when he's armored up. So if he just stayed armored up, would that make him essentially immortal?
Yeah, you would think so.
Right? Because
he doesn't need to eat, he doesn't even need to breathe when he's in his metal form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Again, something they could explore.
Yeah.
If they did some good story writing, then but
it
always just kind of gets a little bit overlooked. I mean, he's had his moments, but for sure. But I just think as far as a lot of the main X-Men that have been kind of staples through all the years, he's often the one that just doesn't get a deep dive. Very seldomly does.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the other characters, they just get more formed and more storytelling with them. I'd love to see him get a little bit more. Yeah, and maybe it's even just outside of X-Men. Maybe it's with Magic. I'd love to see like an X-Men or a Colossus Magic title that goes for a while or something. That'd be
or something.
That'd be great stories, man.
He was on this really weird Defenders team for one miniseries. It was like him and Atlas and Nighthawk and one or two other characters. I can't remember who. And I only bought the series because I saw Colossus was on it. But I was like, I mean, I know Defenders have some weird lineups, but that was real weird.
Yeah,
Hialeah, all the Hialeah fans are coming out of the woodwork.
I haven't been on YouTube talking comics or anything in so long, man. It's crazy
to have you on, man. I'm glad we could bring you back out.
I do a show with Mastodon Comics, but we talk music. But comics, it's been forever, man. It's crazy. I don't know when to get a word in, dude. I'm enjoying the love that you guys and the excitement that you have for this character. I'm just enjoying you guys. You guys are kicking ass, bro. Love it.
Hialeah, you can hear.
I got a few questions that I wrote out that I just wanted to kind of like get all your guys' thoughts on them. Just ideas and stuff like that. So first I wanted to just ask, like, do you guys have a favorite storyline, or like a couple issues or whatever, where Colossus was kind of like a big part of it or like the main part of the storyline. Just wondering what your like favorite stories that you've read from him.
I could go. I like the 150s of the X-Men. It's like when Kitty Pryde leaves. I think he gets stabbed. It's the oh my god, Corsair. Those issues. It's like the 150s. I forget. It's been a while.
The Brood Saga.
The Brood Saga. All that. Yeah, I think it's the Brood that they stab him and oh my god, that. I thought he died in that issue when I saw that as a kid, and I'm like, oh shit. So I had to, oh, thank God. Okay, he's still around. But yeah, that 150, right when I started at 149 reading X-Men, and so it goes up to like 159, I think, and then that's the Brood stuff. Fantastic. I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, it's so good. Classic. Yeah, and he's like you said, like he's actually like he looks dead on one of the covers.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, luckily they kept him around after that.
We wouldn't be here, right? That would have been quick. That would have been it would be like Thunderbird. It would have been a little bit better than Thunderbird.
A little bit better.
Well, you know why they killed Thunderbird originally? What the reason was, right?
I've heard the story. I do not remember.
It's because his powers were so similar to Wolverine's. Like, all right, they both have enhanced strength and speed and agility, and they're both trackers, and and they're both kind of angry. And when they started writing the actual X-Men series, like these two characters are too similar. We don't need both of them, and Wolverine was already established. So, bye.
And I mean, a little bit cooler, like the claws.
Yeah.
And everything, right. So
yeah,
that Thunderbird costume is so great, though.
It is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I liked up until the recent Wolverine Revenge series, I always liked them when they were the X babies, the kids. I always thought that was the great storyline, having them be kids in those stories. But I've never been so excited to read a book until the Wolverine Revenge series. Not only that Capullo was drawing it, just that Colossus was in there with his son. That it's like I was just so excited to see his son, and the fact that they still used Peter as his name, but not Peter, and then he had the soul sword from his aunt. Just the whole storyline was perfect. Like when they showed him with the soul sword and they said that his aunt taught him how to use it, I was like, how could this get any better? Like, why is it only 5 issues? But I think I saw recently on Google's website that he's drawn his son again. So there might be like a part 2 to the whole series. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to pick up the rest of the issues.
So how did you? So you haven't read it yet, Dan?
I read the first issue and it got to the end and it saw Colossus was literally, that's the whole reason. I got to the end and I'm like, Colossus is a bad guy and Wolverine's going and killing all the bad guys. I'm like,
okay. So maybe I was gonna ask a question. I'll save you some of the spoilers and.
No, that's okay. You guys.
I
thought, yeah, we kind of did earlier, but without saying any details, like so the ending kind of helps to that storyline. Helped kind of like did that help bring it back to you? Bring it back for you, or did you just like it all the way through?
I liked it all the way through. Like as soon as the first issue came out, and I was like, all right, Colossus is in this. I knew that Wolverine was going to go out and kill everybody, but it was like kind of like a whole new team. I don't know if it's in a multi-universe. I'm not sure what the timeline was, but then it kept on like teasing up to the end. Like when you got to the end of issue 4, it showed one little image of Colossus' son, that looked like him, and it was really well drawn. And I was like, this is perfect. I said, like, when's issue 5 come out? Like, and I've never been so excited for an issue 5 or another issue to come out the next month. I just was waiting to that day, and I went out and got it as soon as I got off work. I barely got home and got undressed my work clothes, and I was ordered to read it. I just had to see what happened. I wanted to make sure they didn't kill him. I want to see what happened with Wolverine. I mean, the whole ending was just perfect. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for Dan either, but the whole ending with Wolverine too is just perfect. I love that they can just build off that story.
It was really.
I guess I'm going to the shop tomorrow.
It was a really great ending, and I love the characters in the story. Like some of the characters, and villains and stuff. It was very, very cool.
The Omega Red, perfect.
Sorry,
I like the Omega Red character in there too.
Oh yeah, like that was so cool. Yeah, Hickman's actually going to be at Terrificon, and I'm gonna line up and I'm gonna ask that guy. So like, what's your deal? What, like, do you hate Colossus? Like. because he's got his ultimate stuff going on, and then also the Wolverine Revenge, and then I think there was one other thing that he did that where he kind of.
Well, he started the Krakoan stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know if
Colossus was just like nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
I was just digging through my papers, my show notes. I can't believe I didn't even think to pull them out. So one of the Codex shows we do is called Comic Character of the Week. We do every Thursday, and we pick one character, and we just do a whole episode on them like this. And I was like, oh, I had to pull out my notes for Colossus. So the recommended readings I had for it, the ones I liked was God's Country, which was that story he had that ran through Marvel Premiere where he's just, going around the country. The miniseries, the only miniseries he's had, Bloodlines, which was great, which was really cool how it tied to Rasputin from actual history. And then the story from X-Men 17 to 19, A Skinning of Souls, the one when he went back to, Russia. And there was, and the stuff with his brother and having to save Ileana and like all the other people in this village.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Those are great ones. Yeah.
Can I just address something Bo said earlier?
Yeah, please do.
Bro, that beard is horrible, dude. Not your beard, the Colossus beard. When they put the beard on Colossus, I'm sorry, dude.
Not a fan, huh?
No. It looks ridiculous, bro. It looks bad.
It took me a while to get used to it. Like I didn't like it at first. I was like, "What is this?" But then the more I started seeing it, and the more like different artists drew it, I was like, I'm kind of feeling it a little bit.
No, you don't gotta feel anything, bro. That shit looks like that's basura. That shit looks like basura. That's a bad look, bro. Bad look on Colossus, dude.
I think it looks all right. I prefer it without the beard, but I think the beard looks okay.
I prefer it without the beard too. Yeah, the same way. I wish they'd do something a little bit different with his hair, but again, I like what they did with Peter's hair, in the Revenge series.
See, what would be cool is if they gave Colossus a mohawk, and then when he metaled up, it would be metal, and he'd have like a razor on his head that he could just.
There you go.
He could headbutt someone and just slice them in half.
Yeah.
See, there's a purpose though. There's a purpose for that, right? There would be a purpose. The beard, nah.
At least he doesn't have the Guy Gardner bowl cut.
Yeah, that is true.
That would be something else. It would look like a helmet. That's what it would look like, right?
Yeah.
Well, when he was Juggernaut, they had him bald.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't remember that.
I want to. There's some really fun stuff happening in the chat. I just want to.
I didn't invite these people in here, bro. This is not my fault, bro. I can't. I'm trying not. I'm trying not to read because
it's funny, man. Hialeah does not do push-ups. He pushes the world down. He's getting the Chuck Norris treatment.
I'm getting Chuck Norris. Yeah.
Hialeah said, please. Instant like on the stream. We appreciate that. Brushes his teeth with Chuck Norris's beard.
There you go, baby. They know who I am. They know who I am. The real me.
He went to college to tell his father, "You're the man of the house."
Oh, I'm gonna steal that one.
I like it. Love you guys, man. It's awesome to see everybody.
I'm excited that people are excited to see you and that you came on tonight. It's awesome, man.
Thank you.
This is a question I think we talked about on Codex, but I wanted to bring it in. Who would you like to see Colossus with from a relationship standpoint? It doesn't have to even be a former Flame. Anybody in the Marvel or X-Men universe, who would you pair him up with?
I dream Kitty before she did him dirty and left him at the altar.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Kitty probably was a good one.
But then she did him dirty, left him at the altar, and I was like, all right, you've shamed my boy, so you're gone now.
She's out.
That's a good question.
I don't know. So on a previous stream, just not a few weeks ago, on our Council of X, we did original X-Men characters, like our own ideas for them, and mine was a son of Colossus. Now, I came up with this idea before the Hickman stuff came out, but my character was different. But essentially, his origin story was that he was the love child of Colossus and what's her name? Morlocks. I'm just blank. I'm just having a brain fart.
Callisto?
Callisto. So
Oh.
when Callisto when she was she got turned into like a supermodel right at the same time Colossus was in that amnesia state.
Yeah.
Stepping through the Siege Perilous, and they met, and they kind of, he was like infatuated with her until a bunch of stuff happened or whatever. But the idea was that he got her pregnant, and then she kept the kid's secret all these years.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel like that could have been that would be like a cool rekindled flame from the past. Not that she's smoking hot, but I mean, an interesting relationship.
That was a great cover too when they were bringing him back into the X-Men, and he was on the cover, and he was like, all metaled up, and it was like gold looking because of the fire that was on there. And
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, just hook her up with Jubilee, man. Just do it. Just Jubilee, bro.
I mean, it was already kind of creepy, the relationship him and Kitty had back in the day, and you want to put him with Jubilee, that'd be a little...
Well, she's kind of grown up now. She's, I think it would have been weird in the 90s, but
I don't know, for some reason, I'm trying to think of someone good to pair him with. I keep thinking Dazzler would be...
I was like Storm. Personally. I thought him and Storm would have been perfect. Like the whole, like the kid has the mohawk, and
yeah,
I think that would have been great.
Just metal. He conducts the electricity, man. It would be a good matchup.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say She-Hulk, because you need someone that that can, that can stand up with him. Or Alicia Masters likes big, strong guys, and she's an artist too. So maybe just kicks Ben Grimm to the curb. And he's like, come on.
Which would lead to a really great Ben Grimm Colossus fight, which I think we could all be down for.
Yeah,
definitely.
I like that idea. What about best costumes? So I mean, he hasn't had a lot of different costumes, but I'm just wondering if you guys have a particular favorite, or maybe it's just is OG original.
OG original for me, man. Definitely.
Yeah, I like the original one with the little shoulder fins, Yeah. That was always kind of my...
The only thing I didn't like about the original one was when he was not armored up, it would be like blue kind of pants on the thighs. And then when he would armor up, it would disappear. We're comic fans. We suspend disbelief. There's only so much you could suspend. They're like, so this fabric becomes invisible when he armors up, but then it turns blue when he's not. Like, I like the costume. It's kind of the one that's kind of like this one, where it kind of goes like straight into the pants, where he's got, and the one where it's kind of like this, but it's got the black sections on it too.
Right.
So you could still see, you still see the metaled up arms and stuff, but he actually has pants on and not these weird kind of boot things. But anything that's a close variation of that original suit.
Yeah.
Like the Acolyte one, I didn't really care for. Anything that strays too far away from it, I don't like.
Yeah, I really like the original suit, but I like the more modern takes on it when the shoulders weren't as like flared out quite as much. They're a little bit. They were either down or they were just a little bit flared out. I just always thought the flare outs were a little much. But my favorite, if I have to be really honest, I love his Acolyte uniform.
Make yourself bigger so we can see that up close.
All right.
The one when I was just like, oh, I didn't like that one. And you're like, that's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
No,
all right.
I think this is so cool. Like the shoulder, metal shoulder things and the cape. I don't know. I just thought I dig it. To each their own though, right?
I did kind of like the Age of Apocalypse suit when he had like the almost pirate kind of look, and like the Buccaneer kind of like the Dread Pirate Roberts mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was definitely a cool look as well. The mask especially was the thing that kind of made that one.
Not so much what he did at the end of that story, but you know, the at least the look was cool.
Yeah.
All right, so if you guys could have any artist, now I know Bo's got a ton of artists that have already done work for him, but if there was an artist, dead or alive, that you could get a commissioned Colossus drawing from, who would that artist be?
That's easy for me. I mean, I think the ultimate best artist for Colossus is Jim Lee. I mean, that does it for me every time. Like, my ultimate dream is for him to go back and at least just do one issue of X-Men, the interiors and everything, not just the cover. But I think Jim Lee was always the best.
I would have lost money. I would have lost money on you, Bo. I would have put money on Arthur Adams all day.
It was a hard
That's a
toss.
good
I
one.
was like, I couldn't decide between those two, but Arthur Adams is right there, like barely below it. But it's like when I was more older to read all the series, that's when the Jim Lee series came out, you know. So.
Right.
I would kind of say Jim Lee just for the price that his art takes. I'll be like, I'll take the Jim Lee one and I'll sell it, and then I'll go, you know, pay off my house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jim Lee's strong. I'd say, you know, since you already took Jim Lee, I'll pick someone else. I'd say either John Cassidy or John Byrne. Because I mean, that's just
yeah.
I read
mine is Burn all day.
I read some story once that like the straw that broke the camel's back, and I don't know how true this is, but you know, you never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That the thing that finally drove John Byrne to quit X-Men was, and I forget what issue it is, but it's that scene where Colossus is like trying to pull up the tree stump that's on that's on the property, and he's got this internal thought when he's like struggling, like come on, all this so hard, and he's armored up and doing it. And I read something that Byrne was pissed off about the way Claremont wrote that because they had plotted it out, and then he drew it, and his intention was like, yeah, he's Colossus, he's just going to rip it up easily. And then he didn't like that Claremont had written it like it was this struggle for him to pull a tree stump out. I don't know how true that is. I read it a long time ago.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Byrne and Claremont didn't quite creatively mesh, and that's what ultimately led to them not working together anymore. But boy, did they make incredible things when they were together.
What a run, right? What an amazing run.
And before X-Men, they did Iron Fist together.
Yep.
Yeah, and created did Byrne do Sabretooth? Was the Sabretooth issue Byrne?
I think it's Gil Kane, but I'm not
okay.
I don't remember. I know he did Iron Fist. I don't know if he created him.
Yeah, no, I don't think he created him. I was just more Sabretooth just because of the X-Men connection. But
yeah, John Byrne and Dan Green art, Al Milgrom cover.
Al Milgrom.
Oh, Milgrom did the cover. Okay, cool.
Milgrom did the cover. John Byrne did the interior art.
Oh, cool.
There
They're
you
all part of that. Yeah, for me, I mean, I gotta say, like Jim Lee definitely would be up there. Byrne would definitely be up there, but because they're both still, and I think Byrne's almost pretty much impossible because he doesn't do signings, he doesn't do anything, and Jim Lee's close to impossible because it costs so much. But Dave Cockrum would be my pick because he's no longer with us, and he's the co-creator. And I just think that would be such an ultimate piece to have is a Dave Cockrum Colossus original art. That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing to have. Think about how great all those Dave Cockrum costume designs were, like all different X-Men, all of the Starjammers, the Imperial Guard, like so many great costumes.
I mean, it's really cool to go back and look at Cockrum's original character exploration,
especially for Storm.
Yeah, yeah, like so many of the characters are just so interesting. And then some of the backstories about like Nightcrawler was a thing that he came up with at DC that didn't go anywhere, and then he brought it over and put it into X-Men. I mean, but just like it's so cool to look back at that early exploration of the characters and interesting costumes that he'd come up with.
Yeah.
So that's a commission. Next question would be if there was a piece of original art, a cover or a page with Colossus on it, and you could get that OA, what would it be? I have a feeling a lot of us are going to have the same answer or very close to it, but wondering what it would be. If you could get one page or cover, original art, what would it be?
Mine's definitely that Art Adams cover I was talking about that had the very first X Babies on it with all them in the background. I'm trying to think of the exact number. Like it's drawing a blank right now. I have it here in my stack, but that cover would be the one I would get.
Isn't that I think it's an annual, ain't it?
Yeah, it's the annual. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So something sentimental to you and your history. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think you guys know mine. It's the one that's right behind Dan.
122.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine too. That's mine too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That or the giant, his first appearance at Giant Size.
Yeah, that would be a good one in there too.
You guys already picked the best ones. I'm gonna say the cover of where he was prominent on the cover of X-Men 1, where Jim Lee did the 4 covers that connected, because on the Colossus one, he's so prominent, and there's such detail that he put into him when he drew it, and especially the way Jim Lee drew it, like Bo said, how great he was, but like he made sure that when he was metal that you could tell that he was metal the way he did, drew it with like the shine, and there'd be the occasional little, like kind of sparkle, I guess, would, when the light would hit him come out. And then the one page in the issue when was it Archangel threw him and then he armored up in midair and had like the energy crackle around him and like turned him into a wrecking ball to go through the mansion. So good.
Yeah. That would be my choice for sure. Yeah.
Another really great one would be I think it's X-Men 1 is the or no, is that what you were just talking to me about? The Jim Lee, the one where he's got the energy field all around him? Is that
it was an X-Men 1 where like Archangel when they were doing the training and he like threw him and then he armors up in midair.
Yeah. It's the way he's positioned on the page too, is he's not even like within a panel. He's kind of like floating outside of a panel. I mean, I love that page. That's just so good.
I also really like the Astonishing X-Men 6 right after they brought him back, where he's on the cover and Kitty Pryde's on there with him, and she's kind of like partly phased in and phased out of him. That one was really cool.
Yeah, that's such a great issue. I also love his first reveal, like, and I think you mentioned earlier in that issue or the issue before, I can't remember which one he first appears, or he kind of like just steps out of the shadow.
Yeah.
The red lights hitting him, and it's basically like a black, white, gray, and red. Like that's the whole color palette on that page. So cool.
Yeah. And he had so many, those few issues there. Like I said, there's so many great moments. When he first revealed and he like runs through her, and then when the X-Men are fighting the guy Ord, was that his name? When they're fighting him, and then like they see Peter behind him and he's talking all tough, and you just see all of them just go, and then he's saying like, I did this and gonna do that, and then Colossus turns around and he's whatever he's yelling at me, he's like, I'm not made of metal. He's like, I'm made of rage. So bad.
The first time I guess it's not technically the first time he kills. The first time he kills out of rage, in the massacre when he kills Whiplash.
Damn, that's a great one, dude.
And he's like just crushing him at his neck, and it's like pure silhouetted, and he says, pray to your gods, cutie man, or whatever. Oh man, that's such a good
Dude, that is perfect, man. That was such a. I remember reading that and being like, oh,
Yeah,
so good.
Make peace with your gods, little
That's
man.
cool.
Yeah.
Next.
I love
so
it.
good.
Or in Astonishing too, right? After they brought him back in Astonishing X-Men, when they're outside and Wolverine looks at me like he's Ord's escaping the ship, and Wolverine looks at him. He's like, oh, I know what we need to do. This, he looks at Peter. He's like, you up to it? And Colossus just standing there. He just goes, I am strong. And then like the next one is that big two-page splash of the fastball special.
Yeah.
But just that simple image of him standing there with that pissed off look on his face and just going, I am strong. Like, yeah, you are.
I love it. All right. This is a perfect spot. I know you guys all brought some stuff. I got some stuff to look at. Since we're talking about the pages and the covers, we might as well look at some stuff.
Yeah.
So any volunteers anybody want to go first?
Are we just gonna shoot our wad right now of Colossus, or are we gonna like do a little go, or how are we gonna do this? Because
I was just thinking, just show off your stuff one by one, and then we talk about it as we go along, type thing. But
who had that stack of slabs?
That was Bo.
Well, why don't you do the honors? Break the ice.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. Okay, let's just start with this one right off the bat.
Oh man,
nice.
So right now I just got a 5.0, but I'll upgrade at some point.
Just
Very
a
nice.
5.0.
So that was one I had definitely. Then I had David Nakayama. He did a remark for me.
Oh, that is badass.
Oh, is that in silver too?
Yeah,
Nice.
That's cool.
this was by an artist. I found a lot of these guys online that weren't as popular, at the time. But this guy named is Jonathan Rossell. He did this one for me. He's got kind of like a Jim Lee's art style. He'll do live drawings.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's very nice.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's like a little bit of Ed McGuinness in there too, like in the face.
Oh, that is nice.
Rob Liefeld.
Hey, you know what? We're doing Bo a big disservice, bro. Have you seen the shirt he's wearing? Nobody's mentioned his shirt. That's a badass shirt. That's perfect for the show.
This is thanks to Ryan. Ryan pointed me out.
Very nice shirt, man.
What's fine. So Chrissy Zulo is one of my favorite artists I like. She did this little remark of him.
That's cool.
Nice. Dude, that fits right in with the cover.
The guy, Mike Kunkel, he did Hero Bear. So I commissioned him to do this cover of him in his style.
Oh, that's nice.
Perfect character for him to do. This is probably one of my favorite ones I've gotten back recently. Art Adams. He did the X-Baby version of
Oh
Wow.
my god, that's on that size X-Men blank. Nice.
Here I got Tony Daniels did one.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's so cool with the color too.
Tony Daniels, he's amazing. Here's another one by Chrissy Zulo.
Oh, that's so badass, bro. All of these.
This one's done
That
by
looks like a Colossus version of a Bamf.
yeah.
Who did that?
Oh wow, that's
This is
amazing.
a Don. He's over in Israel. He does a lot of the multimedia art.
Wow.
Jay Fosgate, he's known for kind of more of his Jim Henson kind of cartoony style. He's done quite a few for me.
Wow.
So this is the cover that started off for me, obviously. Right here.
Yeah, there it is. There you go.
There. Yeah.
Did like a little Cyclops in there. I actually asked him to draw Colossus on that, but I don't think he heard me at the time. So he drew a Cyclops, but I did end up getting one from him. But this one done by Chris. I'm sorry, Chris Uminga. That's Chrissy Zulo's husband. So they both do kind
I
of.
wouldn't be able to keep track of the artist names either, man. You got a ton of stuff.
Shit.
Fosgate, he added that little one in right there. I don't know if you can see that little class.
Nice.
So he added that in there for me. This is a Uko Smith.
That's cool.
Badass.
He's cool. He does amazing stuff.
I found this tattoo artist down in Mexico. I asked him to do a cover of Colossus for me.
Oh wow, the colors on that are amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's amazing.
Like
He did a few
like
for
a Chris Bachelot kind of style.
Yeah. Here's another Art Adams little remark he did for me.
Nice.
Very
That
cool.
is so, dude, very impressive.
Jay Fosgate.
You got Art Adams already, so you're good.
Yeah. So this is Jay Fosgate did. He's known for doing like the Muppets and stuff like that. So he did like a Muppet style version of them. Here I had a collaboration done. This has got Seth the Moose, Jay Fosgate, Alex Sinclair, and Kaylin Smith on it.
Wow, that's cool.
Little jam piece, nice.
Let's find it. Okay, so there's a guy named Reno Masad. He does like these little kid characters.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like an old school looking kid version, but he's done a couple of versions for me too. Here's another artist from Israel. You guys might know her name is Bella Rocklin.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's yours. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when she posted that. I was so jealous. I didn't really see that one. Oh,
yeah, that was mine. Here's one by Jim Lee. He did this little remark up there.
Oh, that's super
Scott
cool.
Williams went to sign it, and he signed right through it. And I was like, oh,
Big dick.
right?
Bella's getting kind of big now. She's
She
doing Marvel cards and stuff.
Yeah, she's really nice too. Sajad Shah, he did that one for me.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Here's kind of like a kid version. This is done by Scott Oakley. He's over in England.
Damn.
He's kind of got like his own style, you know. This one's done by Renee Cordova. He's down in Mexico. He's known for doing like some of the Spider Amazing Friends and stuff like that. Spider-Man.
Nice.
Oh, these are awesome, dude. This is really awesome.
This is
Whoa,
one of
have you heard of oh man,
That's amazing.
Wow.
Jim Lee.
that's Jim Lee?
Yep, Jim Lee, and colored by Alex Sinclair as well.
Wow.
Wow.
So dope. Have you heard of Manic Sabrera?
I don't think I have.
He's getting quite popular. He's got sort of like a Futurama type of like Simpsons, Rick and Morty type of style, I guess the best way I could describe it. And he does lots of different stuff, but he often does people get him to do homage cover, like a cover of he'll do X-Men, he'll do Giant Size X-Men, or he'll do Spider-Man 300 or whatever, but he only does it ever once.
Really?
So once he does the cover, he never does that cover ever again. So everything's like a one of one. Anyways,
Nice.
I think you would be really into his style.
Yeah, I'll have to look him up for sure.
Yeah. I could shoot you one of his posts or whatever, so you could follow.
Mark Silvestri.
Oh man,
Oh, wow.
I met Silvestri last summer, but I wanted to get him to do something, but I got there too late, and he wasn't taking any more commissions.
Here's
I
Jim.
met him and Jim Lee when as a kid when they were doing the Killer Instinct tour, and my mom took me to get their autographs.
Oh, no kidding. So here's an interesting one. I've actually kind of become friends with this amazing, legendary Smurf artist, right? I'm a big fan of the Smurfs, and he was always against Pale Studios, was really against them doing Smurfs with any other kind of company. And I finally just begged him and talked him into, can you please just do me a cover, you know? And he did a Smurf version of a Colossus.
Oh, shit. Badass.
That's cool.
He is amazing. He's done a lot of work for me.
So cool.
Trying to find stuff. A lot of them are just signed covers too. Like I liked all the Colossus signed covers, like Campbell, Nakayama. Let's see, I'm trying to find a good one here. You guys all like that one, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rose Best, she did this one for me.
Nice.
That was kind of a quick, like what she would call like a giant remark. The most recent one I've gotten in the mail, it's not commissioned, but it's this signed.
Oh, that's from the X-Men packs, right?
Yep, the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kubert did a really good Colossus too.
Yeah. Yep. That's all I got for covers right now, but I do have like some non-art covers too that, like, here I got a Neil Adams.
Oh wow.
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 Chris Jeruso, he did this one.
Oh, the fastball.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
I got another Sajad Shah.
Show that one again. Show that again.
Oh, sure.
That's cool. I like
That's
that.
really nice, dude.
Sajad Shah is really good. This is Brian Bader.
Oh, wow.
Man. Oh, I love the extra tones of like the grays there. It's so cool.
Tommy Nugent.
Nice.
Great.
That is
You have
nice.
such a good collection, man.
I get some
know.
people that aren't used to drawing Colossus at all, or even comic characters, and I just like this guy. He's known for doing like stitch art. His name is Ed Murek. Muronic. I got him. I begged him again here to do a Colossus for me. Tried to get him to do a stitch version of it, but he did that for me. I've gotten Scotty Young did one for me years ago too. Just a real quick one, but
Wow.
Nice.
yeah. Art Baltazar. He just knows
Oh, that's cool.
little crayon style, and let's see. I'll show you a couple more, and I'll let somebody else move on. This one's done by Art Sanchez.
Oh, that's really cool.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Show that. Wait. Show that again.
It's almost a little like, almost a little anime style.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, that is nice.
that's so cool.
He's known for doing really good work. And then Rene Cadorba, he did another one for me. He's that guy from Mexico. This watercolor.
Wow.
Wow, that's really good.
That's the X babies, right? That's your X baby.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, right?
Yep, kind of that style, yeah. So that's the majority of like the art I got right now.
But that's a lot.
Yeah.
Shit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That
Amazing.
was impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Who wants to follow that up?
I'll go, I guess.
Oh, man.
Let me just see. I'm gonna start, dude. You gotta have your Colossus pops, right? You gotta have your Colossus pops. You gotta start with that. Art. I got a couple of stuff on my walls. I got this. Who is Alex Ross, right? So I got that.
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
It's the full body.
I like the
This-
full body. That's cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get it. This is art by my friend Jim Boatwright. Jim Boatwright Comics. He did this for me.
Oh, that's good too.
So good.
Yeah, dude, he's a really good artist. He's part of the community. This is Jay Hood did this cover for me,
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
and Naaman did this little card that it took him forever to send it to me, but he finally did like a year or two after he promised. So that's cool. I don't know if you guys remember Bowen busts. So there's my Bowen bust.
Yeah.
Comics. All right, let's do some comics. This is the first issue I ever got, and there he is, front and center.
Nice.
Signed by who is it? Claremont.
Yep.
You gotta get this,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
right?
Yep. First Juggy fight.
Right.
You know, the cover everybody loves, the one we thought he had died,
Oh, yeah.
and then this one is
With the
just a
blue
classic
pants.
with the blue pants. There you go. There's your blue pants.
That like doesn't match the rest of the color scheme of the outfit at all.
It does not. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Vision phasing with.
That's a great cover.
Yeah, I think it's the first Nimrod, I believe.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
first Rod.
So that's the raws. Give me 1 second. So some slabs. This is one of my favorite Colossus one where you see him on fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Garrock.
Yeah, great cover. Again,
Oh,
you gotta have this one. This one.
The 9.8 for that one. That's
I'm right there.
yeah,
But
you're
I
right there.
bought that raw, didn't press it, and it came back at 9.6. I'm
Oh,
good.
nice.
So I got this signed by Stan Lee.
Oh,
that's cool.
That's good.
And then of course you gotta have his first appearance.
Yeah.
Signed by Stan Lee. You gotta have that if you're a Colossus. Give me
Yep.
1 second.
Comic fans always talk about like what's your grail, and
That's it. That's mine.
yeah, I say like even though I've argued, I'm like when people like have a long list of them, I was like, there's one grail. You can't have more than like the definition of grail is that there's one. Though even with mine, I cheat and I say there's two. There's the one that is feasibly affordable, which is Giant Size X-Men 1. Like, if I saved up for a while and I found a beat to hell copy of it, I could feasibly get that. And then there's like the completely unattainable grail, which is Captain America 1.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. I was like, there's no chance of me getting that short of winning the Mega Millions.
Well, that one in the 94, I got that. I was doing the whole run, right? And I only needed those two. And I happened to, there was a shop in Hialeah. I walked in and they had both of them.
Wow.
And I got them for, they wanted 100 for each one, right? This is way back in like 91, right? And I didn't have a lot of money. I was working, I was going to school. So I got them to come down to 180 for both of them. And the rest is history. I was done and I got really lucky.
Wow.
It was a bargain. There are advantages to being old. So I got this back in, I think it was a KB Toys.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife had it in the attic. And when she sold her house, she goes, "Hey, you want this stuff back?" And I was like, "Yes, thank you very much." And of course, there he is.
Oh, that's super cool.
There he is right there. I've never opened them. I've never taken them out. So, and then one more thing, and I'm going to have to move the camera a little bit because I brought them up here, but give me a second. Let me see if this works. I got my boy right there.
Oh, wow.
It's a site. It's hard to get it, but he's right there. It's a nice statue. It's a Sideshow Premium of Colossus. It came out a couple of years ago. Got his head.
Nice.
So, love it.
How tall is
that? I think it's like 25 inches from base to top, somewhere in that area.
No kidding.
So pretty big, man.
I need that.
So that's it. Plus a ton of other X-Men issues, but that's what I brought for Colossus Show and Tell tonight.
Love it. I love it. All
That's
good
cool.
pieces. All right, Dan, you're up.
I feel bad. Unfortunately, like I said, I got home at the last minute. I didn't have the foresight to like go and pull out a bunch of issues. I just real quickly pulled these out and put them up, in my pseudo spinner rack before we jumped on. And then it was like, what do I have within arm's reach? Like if I could lean over, I got a VHS copy in a clamshell case that I got at Safeway when I was a kid of the Pride of the X-Men cartoon. That was the first time I saw it. And the Safeway had a big box in the front past the checkouts with all these, and I pulled it out. I was like, oh, and I got that and just watched it over and over again. But yeah, just within arm's reach, I have this Toon Tumbler that I got many years ago at Baltimore Comic-Con.
Nice.
And then, like I said, I wish I would have had the foresight to actually pull out covers because I got a ton of great ones. And then I got a little bit of art that I've been doing. I started this Colossus drawing just like yesterday, so I don't really have much done on it.
Okay, it's coming along.
And I was gonna work on it in my downtime at work today, and I pulled my stuff out and realized I left my pencil case at home. Like, oh goddamn! I was looking around and I found like one pencil, and I sharpened it, and then when I went to erase, this one mistake, it was this, like one of those bad old erasers. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna have to finish this later. So I'll have this done, and I'll post it on my Instagram page with a link to this, probably next week. And then I got this one X-Men one that I do have done that I did a little while ago.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Where originally it was just going to be Colossus and Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and then I was like, well, I got all this space up here. Let me add Storm. And then I went, well, let me add Banshee too. And then afterwards, I felt bad that I didn't add Thunderbird. So I was like, maybe eventually I'll just put like a little tombstone in the back. So R.I.P. But yeah, I got this, and then I actually have a just today I got the notification from CGC that the last batch of sketch covers that I sent them to get graded for my artist label are on the way back to me now, and one of them is one that someone wanted me to do, an X-Men cover where he wanted me to redraw just the Colossus, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler part on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
I'll get that back in a couple days. But of all the stuff I've done, I was pretty happy with how this turned out.
That is nice.
Can you throw that Colossus up closer?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
I
great.
like the shadow too.
I don't think I've seen the inks. I definitely saw some work in progress shots of this, but
Oh yeah, thanks.
That's
So
cool.
if anybody wants to buy it, go to my Instagram page, because people ask me like, "Oh, what do you do with your art?" I'm like, I put it in these little books, and I hope people buy it. Like, what do I want? What am I, a narcissist? I want to put all my own art up on the wall. Like, I want people to give me money for it. That's what I want. I want to draw it and have it look cool and put it on my page, and have people give me money for it.
Right.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, like I said, I wish I would have had the foresight to pull out a bunch more covers and stuff, but
no worries. Appreciate you having a few pieces anyways. Yeah, so I went and grabbed a bunch of stuff. Start off with I should start off with this one. Like we said, the Grail. This is the big X-Men one is a big one, but this is Colossus' first appearance. This is my Grail book. Love that.
I mean, that
one.
was the turning point for the X-Men. They were just in reprints, and it was going to get canceled. And they're like, "Let's do this completely different thing." And if that had failed, the X-Men would be gone. It'd just be some old property that Marvel probably brings back occasionally, and that that's what was the turning point and turned it into this, this global mega franchise.
Yeah, it's an important book for sure, and what's great is the multiple first appearances in it too.
Yeah.
Not just Colossus. And I mean, we saw this one too, but first Juggernaut fight. Surprisingly, it's what's funny about this is like probably the most iconic matchup. Colossus versus Juggernaut. Right, so you had this is the first time they go toe to toe 102, but then they don't really go toe to toe until 183. This is my birth month, one of my birth month books.
Nice.
How poetic is that?
They meet in a bar, right? Don't they meet in a bar or something?
Yeah, so it's right after Secret Wars,
right?
And Colossus had that relationship with the woman,
alien
woman in Secret Wars, and he comes
Claremont
back.
Claremont hated that they did that because it messed up his plans for the book, but he was like, what could I do? He's like, it was Shooter that was writing it. I just had to roll with it.
So he comes back and kind of breaks off with Kitty, and Wolverine doesn't like how it went down, and he takes Colossus and Nightcrawler out for like some tough love, and he basically instigates this fight with Juggernaut and Colossus. He kind of lets Colossus get his ass kicked, but it's a great fight, awesome issue. But so this is that iconic matchup. You want to know when the next time these guys would fight? They wouldn't fight until the series Fear itself, when Colossus becomes Juggernaut, like in the 2000s.
Wow.
They went that long without these two fighting in some kind of altercation. I thought that
542. That's when he became Juggernaut, was 542. So how many, what is that, like 300, 400 issues?
Decades and yeah, hundreds and hundreds of issues. It's kind of crazy.
Think how good of a writer Claremont is too. Like they did that with Colossus and Secret Wars. Any other writer could have taken it and just said, "All right, I'll do like 2 or 3 issues where they work through their, where they work through their problems, and then they'll be back together, and that'll be that, and that'll just be something that happened." But Claremont was like, "All right, this happened, so this is what it's going to be now," and actually, worked it into the story going forward,
and just rolled with it. And made that classic issue. Yeah. So this is my other favorite book, just from a cover standpoint. It's kind of the quintessential Colossus issue.
It is
chasing that in the 9/8. Hopefully, I'll eventually get that. Love this one too when his first heel turn, which was again another moment where he's being mind controlled.
Proletariat.
He becomes the proletarian.
Oh, I know what I did.
Those are some of my classic issues that I pulled out. Then I just grabbed a bunch of cool stuff. This is
nice.
Signed by J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love that cover.
I got this one.
Oof.
Got the Sentinel Eye piece.
Oh, that's really cool.
Walking away from the flames. So good. That's Lionel Francis Yu.
That's nice.
And then I got the
headshot.
The headshot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Ross.
Yeah, what was the question earlier? What one piece of Colossus art would you own if you could? That full-size Alex Ross painting would be a pretty cool one.
Yeah, that's up there. That's definitely up there.
Yeah.
This is like probably my favorite version variant that I've seen in maybe ever of Colossus.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've got that. That was one of the ones I was gonna put. I don't have the Virgin variant. I've got the regular one, but that was the one I was gonna pull out to put up here, and I just didn't have time to go through the box to find it.
Beard doesn't look too bad there.
Yeah, so I know you don't love the beard, but I mean,
but it doesn't look too bad there. I'll admit it. Doesn't look bad
there on the art. So cool. Love the action shot. I got this one.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the Jusco.
Marvel masterpieces. Jusco, yeah.
Yeah.
This is my only other beard cover.
No, man, basura.
Not a fan.
No,
I just think it looks badass. He's got the blood on the fist.
Yeah.
No.
Basura.
Right. It's all good. No more beards. This one.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one. That's badass. Yeah, definitely.
So cool. I said I love that he's got that relationship with his sister.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about that Bloodlines series.
Yeah,
that's nice. My favorite cover out of the Bloodlines. Definitely an interesting art style. Townsend. Actually, I'm not even sure if that might be the inker or the colors, but the artist on these definitely had a unique style. But
that is nice, though. That is very nice.
Favorite one.
And you think about all the the all new characters, the ones that were introduced. Wolverine's obviously had a billion solo issues. Storm's had her own ongoing series a few times. Nightcrawler's had 3 ongoing series and a mini series. Thunderbird died right away, and Sunfire quit the team. Banshee was already around, but Colossus is one of the ones that was new and introduced in there. Is the only one that hasn't had his own ongoing series. He had the one mini series.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great story. A really great story. I just I don't know why they can't. It's probably doesn't sell as well as some of the other characters, but that's also because you haven't written anything for people to really get into him, so you got to develop him more. He's got that series, and then he had that Marvel Comics Presents little run, and then he's had I think he's had a couple one shots here and there, but not a lot of stuff. This one we talked about, Such a good cover.
Yeah.
This is the graphic novel of
Yes,
that Marvel Comics presents.
that's a cool one.
Really
Kyle's
like
that.
And then here's a couple covers from that.
Yeah, it's a
Marvel
good one.
Comics.
Nice. That was one of the earliest comics I remember getting.
How many issues did that go for? Do you know offhand?
I can't remember. I got them all here.
It's like 6 or so, something like that.
Yeah, it's a few because Marvel Comics Presents would be like 3 or 4 stories and it was like a standard size comic, so it would be like 3 or 4 little short stories, and then they would just continue from issue to issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the first one and the last one, they're like dual covers. So it went from a Wolverine storyline into the Colossus one. So the first one's with Wolverine and Colossus on it, and then the next one went when the Colossus storyline ended, it went from a Colossus to a Cyclops. So Cyclops is on the cover of the last.
And they would have like the front cover would be one of the, would just highlight one of the stories, and then you'd look at the back cover and it would be like the other 2 or 3 stories. They would have artwork for them on them.
Just a cool little
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Autographed by the artist Kapicic. Not the artist, I say artist, the actor. This is a really cool piece. So my buddy JP from the Absolute Game of Nerds got this made for me at Terrificon and gave it to me. It's like this cool collage.
Oh, I've seen that guy at cons. Yeah, I've seen what he does.
So cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Just handed this to me. I was like, this is amazing.
It's like almost like a shadow box.
Yeah, it's basically what it is, right? It's kind of got a.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It has depth to it.
Yeah. This is some original art. The artist Mike McCone did these. He did these X-Men stamps with, I think out of England, maybe.
Oh, that's cool.
But he then did these limited edition original art remark things on, and then sold, so you could get the stamps with the original art on it.
Where did you find that when it originally came out, or your?
So I follow or I'm connected with Patron of Comic Art on Instagram, and he came across it, and he sent me a link, and I just went and bought an issue of it or whatever it was. So then I have some like fun stuff. Like our community is such a great community. Somebody drew this for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Thing, and this is Travis from Comics Limited. Drew up
he's a good guy.
Colossus arm wrestle with the Thing. Awesome.
He's got a little Sylvester Stallone look in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that movie?
Yeah, over the top.
Over the top. Yeah.
There's a little over the top look right there.
He just needs a paper bag with a hood ornament for his truck.
Yeah.
Just recently, this is my most recent acquisition. This is from Adam from Up and Adam Comics. He did a recreation of 122, and it's my face on there smoking a cigar.
That's cool.
Dude.
Cigar guy.
Of X-Men. I like
the
it.
Trial of Colossus Collector, and then he put the original first transformation of Colossus in the barcode box. I'm even in the corner box there. Pretty cool, right? So,
yeah.
Like just out of the blue. It's so nice of them, and really cool piece. And then another AOK I got from my friend James at the Nerdy Musings podcast. He's quite the artist himself.
Oh, that's super
Drew me that.
Wow.
Very, very cool. Shout out to James and the Nerdy Music Podcast.
Nice.
Subscribe,
Wow.
watch, listen. So that's my community art. And then this is also a recent acquisition this year. It's my first official page of original art.
Oh, nice.
Published original art.
I like that. I was jealous.
That is very nice, dude.
David Yarden. And it's like a profile page of Colossus from this book called Origins of Marvel X-Men or something like that. I always forget the title. But each page had a different kind of profile of all the different X-Men. So this one shows kind of his origin from giant size, saving Hialeah, and then being on Krakoa, and then when Hialeah dies from the legacy virus, and then he sacrifices himself. It's like a little mini storytelling of his
That's awesome.
That's
and then just like a fight scene thing. So cool.
You had to be happy when you got that.
I was very happy when I got it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And last couple pieces, I got some sketch covers myself. I got Joe Rubenstein did this
like
one.
that. That's cool.
Got that at Terrificon last year. This is from Johnny Desjardins.
Nice.
Really cool piece. And he left all this space. I think maybe next time I run into him at a con, I'll get him to like kind of do it every time I see him, maybe turn this into a bit of a
Dude, get him kissing Callisto, dude. What you were talking about, man. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I was gonna send you a character idea I had in for that show you were talking about, but then the character I came up with, I didn't have time to actually draw it out, and I was like, and I was thinking about, I was like, the character I came up with is kind of dark, so I don't know, it might not be a good one for this.
Well, I mean, I would have loved to have shared
Next
it.
time you
We
do
had
one, I'll
we
do
had some dark characters on that show. So this I got commissioned from a guy named Art of Breed. And it was at Terrificon last year, and he just did this up like so cool.
That is badass. It kind of goes with the 122 cover, almost, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a 122 homage, dangerous kind of exercise thing.
Yeah,
so cool.
Also, kind of reminds me of that scene in Secret Wars where the Hulk is holding up the mountain with everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought of one more thing I had with an arm's reach to show. It's
all right.
So I don't know if you guys know that, years ago, John Byrne did his own X-Men fan fiction that he put up on his website, Byrne Robotics. And basically it was him starting right after he left the book, like right after the X-Men get back from the Dark Phoenix saga. But in his fan fiction one, it's Jean wasn't killed on there. He ended it the way that him and Claremont originally wanted to end it, was she basically just got almost lobotomized by the Shi'ar, but she got to survive, and they come back to Earth, and she's in this like childlike state, but she got to live. And then he just did this whole series where it's basically like, if I got to do X-Men the way I wanted, this is what it would be. And he posted a page a day for a long time until he just stopped, and he put the last page up and said, like, I kind of wrote myself into a corner, and I'm not really sure what to do here. And I was going to end it I was going to do this, but that's not going to work. But I ended up liking it so much, and I'm such a nerd that I saved every page, and then I printed them all out, and I put them in these binders. So I made, and he called it Elsewhen. So I have my Elsewhen book 1 and book 2.
That's so cool.
Wow.
And this is how many pages he did for that.
Wow.
And I made my own little, my own little covers for him. And then I had, found some art to put on, some Byrne art from the X-Men to put on the back covers of them.
Awesome.
So if you ever get a chance, go on his website, Byrne Robotics. As far as I know, they're all still up on there. But the you know, and it's the all do all different team. So Colossus is very prominent in it, and the artwork that he was doing, and I just saw a good Colossus page too.
Just pencils, right?
Yeah, it's just him doing pencils, and then he put the the word balloons and stuff in too. But because like a lot of these older artists, they start, their work kind of doesn't do well with what they're doing now. But this is like some of the best art that I've seen him do, in years. And
what year was this from?
This
is like right after he finished the run.
No, this is something that he just did a couple years ago.
Oh wow!
And he was just posting it up on there like a page a day, and was doing that for a long time. Like I said, and then he got to a point where he said, "Oh, I kind of wrote myself into this corner, and I had an idea of how I was going to get out of it, but then there's one was good Colossus fan." But yeah, look at that art. That's just
so good.
That looks so good from him in his heyday. And apparently at one point after he was posting this stuff, here's one where Dr. Doom shows up in it. And he's got like the Avengers showing up at one point, and the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, and it's basically he's like, I can do whatever I want, so I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it's something if you're an X-Men fan of the all new, all different era, it's something I highly recommend checking out, because it was something where he just did it just purely for, hey, I want to do this for fun, and this is what I would do. And apparently he talked to Marvel at one point about them actually publishing it, because he does it as a series of issues, and it I forget whatever reason it didn't end up happening, but it's still, it's a cool thing to see, what if we would have actually gotten this.
Nice. Rob talked about that on Rob's Observations. I didn't know anything about it until Rob mentioned that on one of his podcasts.
I think I read something where somebody had like posted about it, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And when I found it, he'd already been doing it for months, so there was already a lot of pages up. And like I said, I went on there, and I would just putting a page up a day, I would click on it, I would right click it and save it on my flash drive. And since he had them all as issues, I just saved them all, issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and I would wait until he had all the pages up for one issue before I would go and actually read it.
I had heard about it before, and I think I've actually seen a few of the pages circulating, like the original art buying world a little bit. Obviously they're a little bit more affordable than actual published burn pages, so they're pretty appealing for OA collectors. But and I mean, look at the art; it's awesome.
It's some of the best stuff of his. I think some of the best stuff of his career. But clearly, he's not working under a deadline. He's getting to do exactly the story that he wants, how he wants to do it. So, yeah, like I said, if you're a fan of that era of X-Men and you like his stuff on it, I highly recommend going and checking it out.
Cool.
I'm definitely going to check that out at some point. There's just so much to read. I'm so backlogged. I'm terrible at keeping up with things. But it's definitely something that would be up my alley. One last question for you guys before we wrap up. I want to know, where would you like to see Colossus appear next? Comics, movies, shows? Where do you want to get a dose of Colossus, or how do you want to see him pop up? If you can answer.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see him in the X-Men animated series pop up. Even if it's just like one episode, it's like have him show up at least once. Definitely in the movie, when they did the movie. And as far as the comic series, I'm with you guys on like a Rasputin team up, him and his sister, maybe his son, just like something of just them, the Rasputins, or whatever, but I'd like to see him at one point have his own series. You know, even if it's a short run. You know, give him a little notoriety. You know, give him what he deserves.
Yeah, I think they kind of, in the last episode of X-Men 97, didn't they kind of tease that he would be on the team next season? Like when they had the wall of like of potential X-Men and he's one of the ones that's on there. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be really cool.
Once they kind of get dispersed through like the multiverse or time or whatever, Forge has got like a board of like who's around, who's left, who's where.
Dude, that in itself is such a freaking disrespect, dude. That's right. Yeah. We were talking about disrespect. That's a total disrespect. Guys that are floating around, and maybe there could be an Colossus, and the disrespect continues.
I know, but I hope he shows up. I really hope. You know, they gave Nightcrawler a spot on the team. I'd love to see that happen in the next season, but we will see.
I would like to see. I think Dan, you brought up when he was in X-Men 2, right? Was it you that brought him up? I would like to see him in an X-Men film, but with that style that they showed for 10 seconds, not the one from the Deadpool. I really like the look in the X-Men 2 movie, and I wish they would go along those. You know, put the money in. You guys were saying that they didn't do it more because of the money, right? Put the money in and the classic Colossus look, you know, nice and shiny, Silver Surfer-ish, you know. I would like to see that. That's what I would like to see.
Let us get a good representation of his costume in a live action.
Yeah.
Movie. When the X, he didn't have a costume in X-Men 2. In X-Men 3, it was, and Days of Future Past, it was kind of along the lines of the Ultimate X-Men, like the all black costume. And then in Deadpool, it was just, black pants and black like black, vest with like, this on it. Like it was kind of an uninspired costume design. Like, I know that his original costume may not translate exactly well to live action, but give us something close to it. Something
better, man. Yeah, put some work into it. Yeah. Even like what Ryan has there in the corner box, that looks in purple. Something, something that represents the old costume, but just make it a movie friendly, I guess.
I think they've gotten to a place now, like with the MCU, where they can make more accurate, comic accurate costumes and not look hokey. You know what I mean? So I think we're definitely gonna get X-Men in better gear, starting with the Doomsday movie that's gonna come out next year, and then going forward once they actually like build a new team and everything. I think we're gonna get some good costumes. The question is, are we gonna get a good Colossus costume? That's the main.
Just give us Colossus. Just give us a Colossus. Start there, and then we'll critique everything else after that.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him. And I'd like to see him in a monthly comic again. It doesn't have to be a solo series. I thought he would have been a perfect one when they relaunched the series to be in Uncanny. I'm like, you got Wolverine and Gambit and Rogue and Jubilee and Nightcrawler. Like Colossus would have been perfect to fit in that team, but you don't want him in that. You know what? There's a ton of great X-Men characters that are not being used at all in any of these books that you could make a really cool X-Men team of. Just stop dicking around with him. Stop trying to make his life hard and make him a mind controlled bad guy and this and that. Just put him on an X-Men team. Give us a really good roster of 5 or 6 or 7 X-Men characters, and I don't know. Do you want they can make it like a globetrotting book where they're here and there helping stuff. It could be a traditional book where they just operate out of like a Westchester type base. They could be like Justice League and they could operate out of Asteroid M or Satellite, or could go back to X Factor being a government sponsored team. But just give us Colossus that you're not screwing with him on a team, on a good X-Men team,
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see him back on. I'd like to see him in Uncanny X-Men as a regular member, because I'd actually say go put him on the adjectiveless X-Men team, but they already got Juggernaut, so it gets a little bit redundant with two powerhouses like that.
And I do like the interactions between Juggernaut and Ileana on there, like when they were doing the rock paper scissors for in the first issue.
That's why I would have said that too, but to like put him with his sister again. But on Uncanny, he can go be with Wolverine and Nightcrawler again, and then Gambit and Rogue. That would be such a classic X-Men team, and Colossus would fit right in with that. So that's where I'd like to see him next, along with X-Men 97 and somewhere in the MCU.
But even if it's not that, you got all these X-Men characters that I haven't really been reading the X-Men books recently so much. I started picking them up, and I wasn't really digging them. But there's so many good characters that I don't even think are being used, or if they are, they're not being used much. That you could build a team up for. Like how cool would it be to see Longshot on a team again?
Well, I mean, I think that's the X-Men problem, is they have such a long list of characters.
Yeah.
That they got, like, they could swap guys in and out, but like, let's get back to like the OGs, like I want, and Colossus is one of them. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see any more new characters. They have enough new characters. They can have a new character or two on the team, but I want to get the good OGs back into the books and the stories, and
they need the right artists too. Like, I don't think they've been having the right artists do the series either. That's just, they need a big time artist. I don't care what it takes to pay them their money, let them do it. It's like they had mentioned that when Jim Lee's DC deal is up, that they're thinking that he's eventually going to go back and do it.
That would be a dream.
Pay him his money.
That would be amazing.
Load up the bank, give it to him.
That would be a dream. Put Jim Lee back on the X-Men. Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
All of us X-nerds would go nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, it's been a great night. Thank you for showing us all these awesome books and parts of your collection, and great talking Colossus with you.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are very
cool. I'm gonna make you big. Hold on.
These are my new stickers I just had made. This is for the Anti-Hero Society.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Love it.
My Colossus. You guys send me your addresses. I'll send you some.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, man. We'll definitely do that. So yeah, guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for everybody in the chat. For all the Hialeah Bruce, what's his face?
Hialeah Chuck Norris, baby. Hialeah Chuck Norris.
Not Bruce. I'm thinking Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. Yeah, all those were really good, and then everybody just hanging out and having a good time. Really appreciate it. I just want to, like, one last thing. If you guys have anything to plug or anything upcoming exciting that you want to let people know about, feel free. Of course, you guys can follow all of these guys on Instagram. I believe I have that in the description. I did the description. Yeah, I do. So their handles are in the description. Give these guys a follow on IG, connect with them. And of course, Dan, you can find on the Codex Comic Station. But anyways, I'll let you guys plug anything you want if you have anything to plug.
Definitely go follow the Anti-Hero Society. They're our social club that we run right now. I want to say, go ahead and give me a follow. Thank you for all you guys for having me on here, talking in Colossus with you guys. I say we do a part 2, talk about Rasputin and magic. It's like, I love it. It's been a great time. Thank you again, Ryan.
Oh, you're going to be on Only Slabs, right?
Correct.
Next month.
Nice.
Only Slabs next month. I can't remember the exact dates. It's in June. I want to say June 14th. I'm not sure the exact date, but that's on my Instagram too. You'll see it right there at the top.
So if you liked Bo's stuff from tonight, and you want to get a good look at more of it, and and some of the same stuff, then check Only Slabs
That's
out.
just a small portion. That's just my Colossus slab stuff.
There we go. There's going to be lots to see then on that show. Hialeah, I know you're not on YouTube, but like
I'm going back into hibernation until I get called up again, man. I'm going back. Yeah, man, this was a lot of fun.
Going back in the carbonite.
Yeah, I'm going back into the carbonite. But this was a blast. I haven't done this in way too long. I guess I still got fans out there, as you can see in the chat. So maybe I'll come back one day. I don't know.
Hey, just pop your head up every once in a while. Just
yeah, exactly. Yeah, hey, I'm still here, guys. Hey,
no expectations, no stress.
Yeah, no stress.
Yeah,
no stress.
It was awesome to have you on, man.
Thank you so much. This was a blast. This was a blast. This was a blast. Thank you.
Dan, what's going on?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, man. Colossus, that you said was one of my favorite characters. So it was awesome to be able to come on here and talk with them, with you guys, with other people that just love the character. Yeah, like I said, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelley Art. I post my art on there. Almost everything that you see, unless it says that it's for someone else, like it's all available and available for commissions too. So as I tell people, get a commission or buy something on there so that your money may become my money, so I can use it to go buy some comics. Yeah, I'm hoping to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. I'm at 900 now, so trying to get over that hump. And then, like you said too, I'm on Codex Station. You can find us on all the socials and on YouTube at the Codex. Just go to thecodexstation.com and it's got links to everything on there. We do the podcast on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights we do Comic Character of the Week. Ryan was on there with us when we did Nightcrawler. That was a lot of fun.
And Namor, most recently
Namor, yeah, that's right. Namor too, which was your pick too, which was a lot of fun. And you go on our YouTube page and you can go through and watch them all there. Like all the different shows are broken up so you can just find the Comic Character of the Week tab and they'll all be on there, so you can watch Ryan on there with us. Next week, our episode we're doing on Billy Butcher from The Boys. And the week after that, the episode's going to be on Thunderbird and Warpath.
Cool.
Sweet.
And then every Saturday night we do Comics Unleashed, where you've been on that with us too, right? Haven't you? Where we just show off our polls and back issues and stuff that we've gotten.
I think maybe once.
I think you've been on there with us, yeah. But yeah, so we do that every Saturday night. We just show off all the new issues we got, talk about them, whatever back issues we've picked up, and it's just a bunch of guys sitting around talking comics and having fun.
Nice.
And we're doing giveaways every month now. So actually this month we have giveaways. We're doing the 3 miniseries you can get. It's the Cyclops and Jean Grey miniseries, the one where they go into the future and they're kind of raising Nathan when he's a baby, and Astonishing X-Men and Amazing X-Men from Age of Apocalypse. So you can go on the Instagram page. It tells you how to enter that. You got to tag people on something and you get entered in it. But go do that. Win some comics.
All right. Give the Codex Comic Station a look, a follow, a subscribe. Follow these guys over here too on Instagram. Say what's up. And thank you to everybody who hung out and watched. Thank you if you're watching this on the replay. Appreciate you. And maybe like, comment, subscribe, all those good fun things for my channel. Appreciate it. Coming up for my channel in the next couple of weeks, we're going to do another one of these, but it's going to be a bunch of guys going to Heroes Con. We're just going to be talking about Heroes Con and everything we're going to be doing and looking forward to for that con. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be, I think, right at the end of the month. And until next time, keep collecting. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.